What's up, party people? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila. This is Jamila Be Readin', because I do be reading, and it's May, baby. It is May, and what that means for me is that I have a glorious month to myself of free time where I'm done with finals and I'm not starting my internship until June. So May means reading, hopefully. I'm hoping I can get to everything that I'm planning to read in May. It also is Asian American Pacific Islander month. And so, of course, we're doing Asian Readathon, okay? Have I not had a great track record of completing readathons this year? Perhaps, but it's a new time. It's May. You know what I'm saying? It's May. So hopefully I can get to everything. I do have quite a lot of library books, and I put a lot of things on hold, so they might all simultaneously come in at the same time. So we'll see. But the beauty of it all is that I can read these whenever, because we should all be reading diversely all the time, not just during AAPI month or Black Month, Black History Month, or Native American Heritage Month. You know what I'm saying? We must read diversely all the time. So anyways, let's get into it. I'm going to first start with the books that I would like to read for Asian Readathon, and then I'll talk about everything else that I have. So Asian Readathon is hosted by Cindy from With Cindy. I'll have her channel link down below, as well as all of the information for Asian Readathon. Of course, I also have some fundraisers and resources down below for Stop Asian Hate, as well as the pandemic in India and fundraisers for that. So go ahead and check those out. But let's get into the prompts. So the prompts are pretty open. The first two are to read any book written by an Asian author and to read a book featuring an Asian protagonist. So everything that I'm going to show is going to cover those two. The first kind of specific prompt that we get is to read a book written by an Asian author in your favorite genre. And so I am partial to fantasy myself, so I have a few that I decided to incorporate here to give myself some options, just because I've always been a mood reader, but it's really gotten a lot worse in the last few months. So I'm giving myself some options over here. The first one is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I was able to find an audiobook of this through Libby, so I have that on deck. This one is set in Paris, 1889. I believe there's a heist element, reclaiming stolen artifacts from European museums, which I love to hear. I've heard good things about this one. I'm excited to get to it. I know it's a duology that's finished, which I like to hear. I'm really digging the duology trend personally. But that's option number one. Option number two is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I feel like this book has been in and out of TBRs for a while now. I really hope I can get to this one this month. I really want to read it, but this is, again, as I've previously mentioned, it's 1920 Shanghai. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. We have rival gangs. We have a mysterious plague, and these two kids of these respective gangs have to come together to figure out what's going on. Romance, you know what I'm saying? So that's option number two. And option number three, which I actually started yesterday, is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I was like, it's high time that I read this series. I've been dying to read it for so long. The third and final book is coming out in November. It's time. It's time. This one is kind of like a large saga. The Green Bone saga makes sense, but it follows the Call family. They are one of the two Green Bone families in this island of Kekon. There is a dispute between these two clans. We have the No Peaks clan and the Mountain clan. Stuff's going on. I don't really know much past that, but I know we have these two kind of rival families, crime families. There's Jade is a powerful element in this world. If you wear it, it gives you enhanced abilities. So I'm very excited to see where this story goes. That's option number three. So prompt number four is to read a nonfiction book written by an Asian author, and I have two options for this one. And I think I might get to both of them. I'm hoping, because I really want to read both of them. But the first one is Minor Feelings, An Asian American Reckoning by Kathy Park Hong. This is, I think, a collection of essays written by Hong. She's the daughter of Korean immigrants. She would later understand these minor feelings occur when American optimism contradicts your own reality, when you believe the lies you're told about your own racial identity. Part memoir and part cultural criticism, this book traces Hong's relationship to the English language, to depression, to poetry, and female friendship. A radical work of art, Minor Feelings is utterly original exploration of Asian American consciousness. I've heard nothing but good things about this one, and I'm excited to get to it. My next option is Crying in Hmart by Michelle Zauner of Japanese breakfast fame. I actually have a friend who really loves Japanese breakfast and saw her, Michelle, aka Japanese breakfast, at a concert. I've like vaguely known of her, but then she came out with a book and now I'm like, hey, I should listen to her music. I feel like I don't know if I'll like it, but I should give it a try. But this is like a memoir by Michelle who talks about growing up Korean American and losing her mother and forging her own identity. There's a lot of themes of food and grief and endurance. Growing up in Oregon, I think she's from Oregon, and so dealing with the white mess that is Oregon. But I've heard really good things about it. It's getting a lot of hype, especially on Bookstagram. So I was able to get an ebook from Libby, so I'm very excited and I really want to get to that one as well. And the last prompt is to read any book written by an Asian author that's not US centric. And for that one, I chose Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This is like a short, like novella length that follows Keiko, who is 36-year-old. She's been working in a convenience store. She's like pretty content doing so, but there's like a lot of external pressure for her to like get a better job and get married and all that stuff. So she ends up, I think, marrying this one guy or something like that, and something I don't really know much more than that, but I've heard again a lot of great things, and I happen to own the ebook and I've been wanting to read it for a while now, so that's what I'm gonna do. I have a few other books that don't really fit into any particular prompts. I guess you could technically say favorite genre because I do love romance. I have The Bride Test by Helen Huang. It's following Kai and Esme. Kai is on the autism spectrum and Esme is living in Vietnam, and Kai's mom ends up bringing her to hopefully get married to Kai because she really wants him to be married and all of that stuff. So she is trying to like seduce him and get him to marry her by the end of the summer and all of this stuff. I also started this one yesterday. I'm like a little bit of the way through and I'm enjoying it so far. I don't know. I'm not sure that I quite like the setup. But anyway, this is not a wrap-up video. So that's the other book that I'm going to read. And then I also have The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai. This cover is just absolutely beautiful. Like, purple's my favorite color. I partially got this book because of the cover. So here we are. This is following Daisy Patel, who's a software engineer, who understands lists and logics better than bosses and boyfriends. With her life all planned out and no interest in love, the one thing she can't give her family is a marriage they expect. Left with few options, she asks her childhood crush to be her decoy fiancé. Liam Murphy is a venture capitalist with something to prove. When he learns that his inheritance is contingent on being married, he realizes his best friend's little sister has a perfect solution to his problem. A marriage of convenience will get Daisy's matchmaking relatives off her back and fulfill the terms of his late grandfather's will. If only he hadn't broken her tender teenage heart 10 years ago. Anyway, so this is like a marriage of convenience story. I'm here for it. Yeah, anyways, those are those two books. I have like a bunch of other books like on my Kindle and stuff like that I might read. I'm not quite sure, but these are the ones that I think I'm gonna like aim for getting through and then leave the other ones up in the air. But let's talk about some of the library books that I currently have and that might come in during the month of May, because I looked the other day and I have 20 books on hold. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyways. Okay, So I have volumes 1 and 2 of The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. I saw that they were making a Sandman Netflix TV show and they started casting, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me go ahead and read this. And I got this on hold like in March or at the end of February, and I still haven't read it yet. I've just been renewing it and no one has wanted it yet, so I'm just going to continue renewing it, but I really think I should get through these soon, because I think I only get like 5 renewals before I have to return it. So I have these. I don't really know much of the premise of these stories, but I love Neil Gaiman, so I'm sure I'll enjoy this. So that's that. I also have another graphic novel. I don't really know what's going on with me. I'm like in a graphic novel headspace, but I randomly saw this when I was perusing the library, and it's called Welcome Back. Is that what it's called? I guess so. Volume 1. Help, I'm alive. Oh, dang. This apparently follows Mally and Tessa, who have lived hundreds of lives. Reincarnated through time, friend and foe are caught in a war so endless that neither side recalls what they continue to fight for until now. Mally, an aimless 20-something girl living and temping in Kansas City, is floored with memories of her former lives, memories that will fuel her for the battle ahead and finally give her life purpose. Tessa, on the other hand, is an ever diligent soldier, out for blood and hot on young Mally's trail. That sounds interesting. Really, like, I just like the art style. I was like flipping through it. So there's that. Yeah. I also have Out Winter's Orbit, which, again, this is another book that I've had on hold that I've checked out for since February, I'm pretty sure. And again, I'm really surprised no one has wanted this one, because it's like pretty popular, but I need to read this. I'm at the point where it's like I gotta. This one is, I think, like a fantasy romance. We have Prince Kiam and Count Jana, and I think this is like a intergalactic, this is like a space romance story. I don't know, but I like the cover. So there's that. Another one that I've had checked out for a while. This is like a teeny short story novella called Sun Daughters, Sea Daughters by Amy Ogden. And this is, I think, about mermaids, potentially. This is like a space opera reimagining of Little Mermaid. That sounds actually really cool. I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I could probably finish this really fast, but I have this. And then the last two. The Pros Before Bros book club pick for May is Gold Diggers by Sanjana Sathian. And this is, says, an Indian-American serio-comic and magical realist epic love story about the perils of ambition, tracing the mysterious alchemy of a character's transformation from high school in an Atlanta suburb through young adulthood in the Bay Area. I'm excited. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. And lastly, Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi. I know y'all were probably like, bitch, you still haven't read this book? I know. I am buddy reading this with a few Bookstagram friends. I need to read this by next week, so hopefully I will report back and I've actually read this book. So kind of an ambitious TBR, but I'm hoping I can get to everything. But hello, this is editing Jamila. I didn't realize that my camera had stopped filming while I was wrapping up the video, but hello, it's the end of the video. That's what I'm planning to read for May. Links down below to things. Okay, bye.